Hey folks, welcome back to the Joe Morley Sports Show. I'm Joe Morley and I'm here to talk about day 2 of the NFL draft. We can actually bring in day 1, what I like about the draft so far all the way up till now. And it's round 1, 2, and 3 are now complete. Who I like, I'm going to tell you who I like. I'm going to go off on some teams. I'm going to tell you a couple of prospects that I like that were picked up. And a little conversation that I had on a little Twitter and Instagram, kind of funny stories. So I'll get to those right now. And if you just hold on, and I want to hear back from you guys. If you guys remember to go to our Instagram page, it's at Joe Morley Sports, and you can find all of our stuff. We put a lot of stuff. We had all our first round on there, a bunch of can't miss prospects or look for this guy, upcoming draft. I put a lot of news and notes on there. So if you want to check that out on our Instagram, you can go to Twitter. And you can also follow us on Facebook as well. So now that we got that business taken care of, you know what? Hold on. Before I say this, if you have your radio up loud, you might want to turn this down. I don't know what you're listening to. What are the Packers doing? Does anybody know what the Packers are doing? They've had 3 picks so far. In the first round, they take Jordan Love. Nobody's knocking Jordan Love. Nobody's saying Jordan Love can't play. Nobody's saying that. We're saying, why did the Packers take Jordan Love? If you're going to say that Aaron Rodgers is declining, that's one thing, but you're still letting him go out there. I mean, you were 1 game away from the Super Bowl last year, and you think that drafting a backup quarterback is going to help your team? I mean, did that help you? A backup quarterback is going to help you stop San Francisco, going to help you beat San Francisco? I don't think so. So you go out and draft Jordan Love for what? For what reason? You don't have that luxury. You're 1 game. You're trying to win a championship. You have a 36-year-old quarterback. Yes, you're going to need to replace him at some time, but he's still playing at a good quality. He still took you 1 game away from the championship, the Super Bowl championship, and he's right there on the crest, and he's asking you for receivers. I'm asking you for some help, and you get him a backup quarterback. So then, okay, yeah, maybe they got the backup quarterback. We'll let that slide. Then what? Second round, they draft a running back. They draft A.J. Dillon from Boston College. Great running back. He's massive, powerful, big guy. He's not a bad running back. He absorbs contact. He's going to be great. But again, why was Jamal Williams or Aaron Jones your problem last year? No. Wide receiver was your issue. You only had 1 wide receiver in Devontae Adams, and he got hurt last year, and then you had nothing. And Aaron Rodgers is sitting there like, hey, give me some help. So you get him a backup, his replacement, and another 3rd-string running back. I mean, if you're Aaron Rodgers right now, I mean, get him away from a bridge. I mean, don't you feel bad for Danica Patrick right now because she's in quarantine with Aaron Rodgers and she probably has to put up with all this stuff that's going on? The Green Bay Packers, their front office needs to call John Elway and say, hey, I liked your game plan. Look what the Broncos did for Drew Lock. They went out and got him 2 wide receivers. And that's what the Packers were supposed to do, and they didn't do it. So what are the Packers doing? If you're a Green Bay Packers fan, you have to be frustrated right now. I try to keep this show like 15 minutes so, it keeps it interesting. I try to keep it to the point. So I'm not going to keep going on the Packers, but dang, somebody needs to get in their head. And it's like their division foes are drafting for them. So, man, that's all I can say about the Packers, but you can't be happy. You cannot be happy to be a Packer fan at this moment. Let's just stay in the NFC North. Why not, huh? The Chicago Bears. What are they doing here? They went and took Cole Kmet, the tight end, very good tight end. Let's not downplay the issue that he's not a good player. He's a great player. He's a great tight end. But the Bears, why sign Jamie Graham if you're going to draft a tight end? You know how many tight ends the Bears have on the roster already? They had 9. So this makes 10. So what are you going to do? So I had a conversation on Twitter. I was like, oh, maybe the Bears are going to run some secret 4 tight end formation, right? So this guy tried to get all smart with me, the Bears fan, and he was like, well, some teams carry 4 tight ends. I go, yes, they do carry 4 tight ends. What I'm talking about is 4 tight ends on the field at one time, and I told him, laugh a little, it's a joke. And he goes, well, actually, we did. We did run 4 tight ends on the field at one time. I said, you shouldn't be proud about that. As a Bears fan, you shouldn't be proud about that because 4 tight ends on the field, a 4 tight end formation should get coaches fired. That's a stupid plan. And to have 4 tight ends on the field is putting you at a disadvantage. So that guy shut up pretty quick, but it's still like, what are you being happy about, that you have more tight ends than the rest of the league? I mean, calm down. And then the Philadelphia Eagles, right? You think they're on the board? They have Carson Wentz. Yeah, he's been injury prone. So then what? They go and draft Jalen Hurts, and they're like, well, we like Carson Wentz. Jalen Hurts is going to back up. What are him and Carson Wentz going to share? They're going to talk about how a backup came in and took their teams to the championship, because that both happened to him and Hurts and Wentz and Hurts. So they have the same thing. So I don't know what they're going to talk about. Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia is not a good pick, and they could have helped their team somewhere else. These teams are acting like they have the luxury to take backup quarterbacks when the rest of their team is failing and the rest of their team needs help, and they're just going and just throwing everything out of the under the rug and just taking these backup quarterbacks. I mean, what is going on? I mean, Jalen Hurts should not be in Philadelphia. What he's going to do is he's going to go sit and learn. But Carson Wentz is supposed to be your franchise quarterback, and he's still young enough. He's still under 30, and you're going to bring in a backup quarterback. Another funny story, I'm always online, especially during the draft and stuff, especially when there's a big sporting event. I'm going to be online. So if you have questions, that's when you might want to hit me up around that time. But I'm on there, and they post a comment on one of the, I think it was NFL Network. They go, how good would the Cowboys offense be? They show a picture, CeeDee Lamb. And I said, it was a luxury pick. The Cowboys couldn't afford that. And you better hope that they can put up some points because that defense is not looking good. I already told you guys that. I already told the Cowboys didn't have the luxury to take CeeDee Lamb. Did they make it up in the second round? Yes, they did. They made it up, taking the cornerback. But some Cowboy fan comes on there and he's like, hey, man, we're good, and all you have to do is have a so good defense with our offense. We're going to score some points, and we're going to win some games. And I was like, and he was like, oh, and we have Clinton Dix, and we have all these players. They're so good. They're our good defense. And I was like, really? There's a reason that Clinton Dix is on his fourth team in 3 seasons. I go, the Cowboys lost Jones, Collins, and Heath, and they're still relying on Zach Lee to be healthy and hope that the NFL reinstates the bad boys like Aldon Smith and to come in and rescue their defense. And then he was like, relying on Lee, we have 2 young linebackers in Smith and Layton. They're promising and all this other stuff. And we just took Diggs, the cornerback, in the second round. So our offense is going to be good, and we're going to have a good defense. You don't need a lockdown. Like I said, you don't need a lockdown defense. And I was like, oh, yeah, you don't need a lockdown defense. I go, Diggs was a great pick. Don't get me wrong. That's where the Cowboys made up for their first-round pick. That's where Diggs could have been a first-round pick, and he dropped to the second round, which is bailing the Cowboys out for taking CeeDee Lamb, which now makes CeeDee Lamb look like even a better pick, which is, I'm glad it worked out. But like I told this guy, I go, as for having a great offense and a so-so defense, if you say that you have a so-so defense, how'd that work out last year for the Cowboys? That's what I told him. I go, how'd that work out last year for the Cowboys? You had the number 1 offense, right? Number 1 offense in the league, the Cowboys did. And what'd they finish? 8-8. 8-8 with the number 1 offense. And guess what? Second place in their division. So, yeah, you can have a great offense. You know where that great offense is going to get you? Ask the Baltimore Ravens where that great offense can get you. It's going to get you to the playoffs. If you're happy with the playoffs, cool. That's where that great offense is going to get you. You can go to the playoffs, but guess what? You're going to lose because defense wins championships, and has been proven over and over. So if you don't have a good defense, if you have a so-so defense and your offense is what's winning games for you, you're going to get shut down, and you're going to get shut down in the playoffs, and then you're going to be crying about how that so-so defense is sorry. Don't get me wrong, I love Cowboy fans. They're just like Raider fans. No matter how crappy their team is, no matter what their team does, Raider fans and Cowboy fans always find an excuse to say, hey, we're going to the ship, we're going to the championship, and I admire that. And that's the good thing about a fan base, because if you don't believe in your team, nobody will. And that's what I like about the Cowboys and the Raider fans, is how passionate they are, even though the Cowboy fans are really, really annoying, and they're just becoming like the 49er fans who are also annoying. So if you're a 49er fan or a Cowboy fan, please hit me up, but I don't want to hear your annoying takes. Just give me the real deal on your team and what you really think about them. Just real quick, a quick fit that I thought I saw yesterday in the draft, or tonight in the draft, was Pittsburgh Steelers taking Claypool from Notre Dame, great wide receiver. And it's funny how the Steelers always find a way to draft really good wide receivers. They always find a way. And so I think, I just want to go on this real quick, as a little tidbit, that I think Claypool in Pittsburgh is going to be a real deal. He's going to be something to look at in fantasy probably with Big Ben, and hopefully they can keep Big Ben upright and let Claypool run the field. It's going to be him, and Juju should be able to help that offense out. So I just want to throw that out there, that I think Claypool to Pittsburgh was a great draft pick right there. Now let me get to a couple teams that I think that had a great draft so far. This is just the first 3 rounds, so don't say that at the end of the draft, I say they had a great draft. But if you're killing it in the first 3 rounds, you should be able to kill it the rest of the draft. The Panthers, I like what the Panthers are doing. They're going back to the old school Panthers. They're building that defensive line. They got Derek Brown, they got Gross Matos, which is very good. They got, Chin as a safety. So they're building that defense again, and that's what you're supposed to do, and that's what Carolina is known for. They're known for the defense. So, let's go shut down some people. They're going to have to shut down people with Brady and, Drew Brees in that division, so they're going to have to. Another team that I like is the Colts. They didn't have a first-round pick because they used it on DeForest Buckner, which is a great first-round pick if you think about it. And then who they take? They took one of my favorite wide receivers in this draft, and that's Michael Pittman Jr. Then they turn around and take Jonathan Taylor as a running back. So the Colts, I think, are improving themselves really good right there. That's really good for the Colts. I think they're having a good draft. Another team that I think having a good draft right now is the Minnesota Vikings. They took Justin Jefferson first round. They took Gladney, the cornerback. They took an offensive tackle in Cleveland. That's where you're going to build your team. You got to keep Kirk Cousins up. You got to have somebody to throw to Kirk Cousins, and you got to have somebody stop the other teams. Stop the Aaron Rodgers. You got to have him, stop in that division. You have a lot of passing. Mitchell Trubisky should be back to his normal form. Last year he was hurt. They barely should be back. Their offense should be back. I'm not going to say that they're going to be the greatest offense again, but they should be back. So adding a guy like that again is good. And I can see the Minnesota Vikings having, this is a great offseason for them. They could. It is the Minnesota Vikings. You put a lot of expectations on them and they never live up to them, but the Minnesota Vikings are turning out to be a pretty good team. Another pretty good team, and I hate to say it. I hate to say this, man, because it seems like the rich get richer. The Baltimore Ravens are having one heck of a draft. Patrick Queen in the first round. Then that improves the defense right there. He's not going to be Ray Lewis, but he's going to be that guy who's going to chase the tight ends. He has the speed to go ahead and follow everybody. Then they take running back J.K. Dobbins in the second round. Like they need another running back. Like they need another weapon to that offense. Then they take Justin Madubuike. I don't know how to say that name. Madubuike. Whatever it is, that guy is a beast. Look at him. They ranked him, actually. Some people ranked him, I think Mel Kiper ranked him as the third best defensive tackle in the draft, right behind Derek Brown and Javon Kinlaw. And you get him, late in the second round? You get him 71st overall? Wow. How lucky can the Ravens get? And you're just going to let them do that? They take another wide receiver out of Texas, which they need. But then they take outside linebacker Malik Harrison from Ohio State. So like I said, the Ravens are killing this draft. They're having a great draft. They already go with the team that they had last year, and hopefully they don't get, one and done in the playoffs. They just want to come and have a better team this year, and they're going to represent. And in their division, let's face it, the Steelers aren't as good as they are. The Browns are the Browns. And the Bengals, what are the Bengals? Nothing. The Bengals are garbage, right? And they shouldn't even be an NFL team. There's probably high school teams in this country that can beat the Bengals right now. So Baltimore is just improving on their record, and they're going to improve on their team just to build up for the playoffs and try to get to the Super Bowl and not waste Lamar Jackson's, first couple of years where his contract is real cheap. So far, I think it's been a very good draft. I think there's a lot of talent in this draft. A lot of good guys going in the second, third round that should have gone first round in other drafts. Still a lot of good players on the board. Everybody's interested to see where Jake Fromm goes and Jacob Eason go, the two quarterbacks, tight end, Harrison Bryant still on the board. You wonder where that guy's going to go. KJ Hill, the wide receiver out of Ohio State, you're wondering where they go. So, you still got 4 more rounds to go tomorrow today, whenever you're listening to this on Saturday. So you're wondering where these guys go. There's still a lot of good talent on the board, and this is actually where GMs make their money. This is where teams build their championship roster right here, is the rounds 4 through 7. Rounds 4 through 7 is the guys who find the gems are the guys who win the games. And this is where you find those hard-working guys, the guys who come in and put in work that nobody really knows about, but he's the guy that improves your team and all of a sudden becomes that superstar. And this is where if you look in the draft history, a lot of the guys that are stars in the NFL league, of course you have those, those top guys, the top elite guys that are top picks, and you already know who they are. But a lot of the guys, a lot of the major players, Russell Wilson, all those guys, Tom Brady, were what? They were in the middle rounds. And this is where you win your championships, in the middle round. So, let's enjoy the last day of the draft and we'll see what happens. Like I said, I like the Panthers, the Colts, the Vikings, and the Ravens. I think they're doing a great job. Miami's doing a great job. Cleveland Browns are doing a great job. I'm just excited as a Raider fan because I really wanted Brian Edwards to go to the Raiders, and they ended up taking him, and it's like one of the first times the Raiders actually took a player that I wanted, so hopefully it works out because I really want him, and I really think that he's going to be a great wide receiver in this league. I'm just glad that he's on that team, so that's what makes me excited about this draft. It's always good when you're following the draft and you follow the players and you see the guys that you like go to your teams so you don't have to boo them. Just like Judy, I like Judy, but he went to the Broncos and now I got to boo him. You know what I mean? So that's all for that I got today. Appreciate you guys listening to me. We'll see how the rest of this draft shakes out. So remember, your team still has a chance to make it right for you. I don't know about Green Bay. I mean, they pretty much screwed that up. So anyways, guys, that's the end of the show today. This is Joe Morley Sports. Tell your friends about the show. Share it. Do whatever you guys need to do. Let's get this out there. More people are listening. And remember, guys, stay healthy. Stay healthy, my friends. Stay healthy.